Good evening, and how you doing? And welcome to another episode of Justification Sunday School Podcast, where we explore things of faith, family, wisdom, and finance and leadership. But tonight, I just want to ask you a quick question before you tune in. Every month, have you found yourself dealing with the same cycle? Paycheck comes, and somehow there's more bills than paycheck. Go to the grocery store and the same $200 that used to bring you maybe a couple of baskets barely fills up one of those little baskets that you carry around with the handle. Things are changing and things are gone, and you have this paycheck, and somehow or another the debt stays. And somehow in the back of your mind, there's a quiet question that you ask, and you really want to know a simple question: is this it? Is this all it is to it, that I keep going to work every day, come home, do the same thing, rinse, wash, and repeat? Well, stay with me tonight. We're going to talk about the abundant life and ask the question: is this really it? Stay tuned. Don't let go. Hang out with me for a while. I appreciate it. Well, we're back, and I asked you a simple question. Is this it? Do you find yourself asking that question each month, sometimes each day, after every paycheck, and going, is this it? Another year you pay taxes and you do different things. And tonight, I just want to ask you a few questions tonight to have us think about it. And this is what led me to think about the book I wrote called The Abundant Life. And the question that I had for myself, and the question I have for you tonight: if the next 3 generations were financially literate as you are today, would you be happy of that? Would you be proud of that, to know that your children, your children's children, and your great grandchildren's children would be handling their finances the same way you do today? Maybe you would be excited about it. Unfortunately, I was not. And I did some research and some different things and said there's got to be more. And when the Lord says that I came to give you life and life more abundantly, there's principles and concepts, precepts that get the Lord put in place so that we can answer that question, so that we will be happy knowing that we passed on a legacy of financial literacy. The cycle stops here and the legacy starts now. Well, again, my name is Minister Rodney Nichols, and I'm happy to be here. But I want to ask you a question about this paycheck to paycheck side. What it feels like, not just financially, what it feels like. What does it do to you emotionally? A lot of stress that people are having these days, simply because they don't have the tools or know what to do and how to handle their finances. And it's a very quiet question that we don't answer, and sometimes we don't share that with our family. We don't want anybody to know that we are quietly leading while we're bleeding, because the credit cards, the debt that we have, and the other debts, and we wonder what it is, what's next. And I want to share a real family story, because if you get the book that's coming out in September, it talks about various families and people who are going through certain things. There's a family in there that you're going to read about, Marcia and Jordan. It's a mom, has 3 kids, and her son Jordan comes in and he says he wants a pair of Jordans. He wants these shoes, these tennis shoes. He wants to be styling and profiling, because every kid in the school's got a pair of these tennis shoes. So his mom is very wise, and the mom says to him, well, Jordan, what exactly would you have me to do? I'm going to show you the bills. I have the mortgage note. I have a car note. I have car insurance that has to be paid. We have utilities that have to be paid. And these other bills have to be taken care of, and this is what's left over. Keep in mind your sister and your brother are in need of some things for school and whatever else. Who should go without so that you can have these tennis shoes? Well, mom, I don't want anybody to go without anything, but I'm just saying these are real questions that people deal with. And you want to give your kids, things that you think, that they want. You don't want them to feel like they're lacking in anything, but that's a real question that people have. And it develops a certain tension. And you're going to work, you're hardworking, and you're faithful. But unfortunately, there's no map, there's no blueprint. And I mean, you may have seen these posts I've been sharing these. And if you don't have a plan for your money, somebody else already has one made one for you. Think about that. If you don't have a plan for your money and how you're spending and where it goes once you get it, somebody else will have that. And I'm just asking today, what is it? Is this it? Is that all there is to it? And like I said, this book is coming out September 7th, and the Proverbs 22 and 6, a very, very familiar question, because we need to start talking to our kids and our family early about finances and different things to train up a child in the way they should go. And when they get older, they will not depart from it. Like I said the other day, many of us look across the street faithfully because that can save your life. But it started early when our parents started, taking us someplace. They said, "Oh no, no, baby, you got to stop. You got to look both ways, make sure no car is coming before you cross the street." In the same way, our kids should be understanding about a savings account. They should have their own. They should be able to look at a bank statement and understand how much money they put in there and when they're taking it out and what they're taking it out for. Do they know the difference between a real need and a real want? That's the question that we have. And the promise of today's episode is we want to move from surviving to stewardship. Stewardship is a word that God didn't make us owners of his stuff. He made us stewards of our stuff, of his stuff. And when we become faithful, structured, disciplined stewards, then he knows he can give you more. But if you, as I have, and I'm not writing this or sharing this with you as a person who did everything right. I did everything wrong. I cringe at the fact, when I thought about that statement. That's why I had that statement up there. I cringe at the fact that I would not want my daughters and my grandchildren to be as financially stupid and pay all the stupid taxes I've paid over the years because, some of it just didn't know. And some of it I willingly just went on. And that's the question I wanted. And do you want kind of legacy? Do you want um, for your family? I mean, I saw, like I said, if you watched the other episode the other night, I went to I do these author visits with my children's books that I do. And I saw a group of kids, a small group of kids, who were really struggling to read. And they were behind grade level in their reading. And they were trying to help them catch up, but the kid was really struggling. And I felt really bad about seeing these kids struggle because teacher said parents don't take the time to read to their kids or spend that because maybe they're just busy working. You know how that goes. But in addition to that, in reading to our kids and spending time with our kids, do we talk about to our kids about financial things? Because it's just important. Do you realize how hard it is for a person who can't read? I shouldn't say there was a time in our country where they would not allow Black people to read. If you were found out that you could read or count or something like that, that was a punishable offense to go to jail for. You could go to jail for being able to read. So you can see how important reading is. I got to figure out how to work on these lights, shine. But when people don't read, and you know how hard that is for them, what about people who are financially literate? They figure if they can keep you financially literate reading illiterate, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? And the reason I wrote that book is because I wanted to increase financial literacy and reading literacy. And the question is moving beyond just survival. Worldly financial pressures versus kingdom stewardships. And you like I said, worldly finances is why we have marketing. That's why we have marketing, where people can um, put something in front of you that you didn't even know you needed or you even wanted. You see that, you be like, oh my, I like that car. Or in my case, sometimes you sit there and you say, I didn't want that food, but came across TV. Next thing you know, you at the drive through at some place getting something. And a lot of these things that come at us in a way develops these financial pressures of getting things that we don't need to impress people that we don't like. You've heard that saying before. And that's why we have to really, really focus in. Why do we spend? What do we spend it on? I mean, when you charge that credit card up and that stuff, did those shoes or those clothes, those slacks, that hat, records, or whatever you charge, did it provide you with the same amount of satisfaction that you got from that? I mean, did you even think about that? And like I said earlier, if you don't have a plan for your money, somebody else has already made one for you, and it's too late. I mean, we look at our lives right now, and you think about most of us get paid twice a month, and bills come due throughout the month, and we have all these dependents. Like, you may look at it that way, but a guy was saying we have these other dependents because the bank's dependent on you to pay your mortgage or your car payment or wherever you got your finances through. MUD and OPPD, the light company, and the gas and water people, they depended on you to pay them. And you've got other necessities. The grocery store is dependent on you to come buy groceries because you need them. Washing detergent. God forbid if something breaks down. Now that you got a dependent called the repair person, whether that's your car that needs repair, your appliances that may need repair. You've got all these other dependents and mouths to feed that you didn't even think about on there. But what about the mouths that feed that for no reason? They're just freeloaders. And most of the time, the freeloader is the people that we decide, oh, I want it. I bought it because I wanted it. I didn't really need it. I don't even know why I got it, but I thought I wanted it. And now you paying that dependent that brings nothing. At least if I pay my utility and my utilities, at least I got light, heat, air conditioned in the house. I get something back from it. But when I buy these shoes or I buy some of these other things, I wear it once and it's like, oh, okay. I look nice, but now I want to look nice again, so I gotta go buy something else new. So I'm just saying, do you actually think about all the dependence that you actually really have? And I think that sometimes we have to look at that in a different way when we're looking at today. And then there's the scarcity mindset versus abundant um, mindset rooted in faith. Not abundant where this prosperity stuff, but I'm talking about this idea of the scarcity where I'm too scared to invest. I'm too scared to start a business, whatever else, because you may lose it. And the biblical thing of scarcity is the brother that the Lord gave him one talent, or somebody, the boss gave him one talent, gave another dude two, another gave three or whatever else. And the other people took their talents and things that they had and they multiplied it. But for some, this one dude, he decided, I'm going to take my talent and I'm going to just bury it in the ground. So when the Lord or the boss came back and said, what did you do with the three talents I gave you? I took the three and I made them eight. And the other guy says, I took the two and I made them six. And the guy that had the one talent he gave said, "Well, Lord, I buried it. I made sure I didn't even do nothing. I didn't even take it to the savings to the credit union or the bank and put it in one of them savings things that give you 0.001%. He could have done that, at least got something. Or he could have been diligent and said, you know what, I'm gonna find one of these savings accounts. They call them high yield, I guess. They're gonna give you 4%. At least you would have had some return on your money by just doing that much. Or finding a certificate of deposit and say, I'm gonna put it in there for 6 months and see what the return is. Or I'm going to basically, I got a talent. I know I can make great cakes, pound cakes. There's folks that have started businesses because they were able to cook. You ever go to Cake by the Pound? Um, Miss Tony in her restaurant, because she's a great cook. They serve great food there. So she took her talents and said, I'm going to open up a restaurant or a store. People come in. There's a guy I know that like making cupcakes. The next thing I know, he's got a cupcake place where people place orders and do that. The scarcity mindset or the abundant mindset. Anytime that you can put your money into something and it will continue to grow. And the great thing is there's some things that you can do where you don't have to do nothing. It's growing and paying you back while you sleep. And there's some things that are just draining. Those dependents I was talking about earlier. So I'm asking you, how many dependents, when you get a chance, here's some homework for yourself. Since I brought it up, and I'm saying, how many dependents do you have? Not just your kids, but or your children if you have any, but how many of these other places, people, places, and things are dependent on you? The dentist, the doctor, uh, various affiliations that they're dependent on you to take care of them in some way. And the question is, most of these dependents, like your kids, you love your kids enough that you want them to be better than you. So you share, you invest. It's not the return. You put up with some miles sometimes that you have to put up with, but it's in hopes that your kids will prosper and they will grow. And that's the question I'm asking you. Do you have a scarcity mindset or abundant mindset rooted in faith and your personal turning point? And like I said, it when I had to come to a point in my life where I had to look in the mirror and go, no, Lord, I'm not happy with where I'm at financially. Is there a solution? Is there? And he said, yeah, there is, man, if you're willing to listen. And the problem with me, I don't know about you, sometimes we just don't want to listen. We know when we buy certain things that that's going to be a struggle and a struggle without great return. I understand if you were maybe opening a business or you were doing something that, hey, we may have to sacrifice a little while now so that this will give us a return later. Sacrificing your peace of mind for a vehicle that you know that you couldn't, that as soon as you drive it off the lot, it's worth less than what it was when you bought it. Is that worth sleepless nights worrying about how you're going to pay for the car and the repo man coming and all that? No, those are the things you have to count the cost before you do it and move beyond survival. Just surviving, paycheck to paycheck, and get an abundant life. 3 to 4 practical tools from the book, and it has a budgeting framework, and it talks about little kids. I mean, there's so many different ways that if you really wanted to save, you could get 4 jars. Go find 4 mason jars. They're not that. Go to Dollar Tree and get them, and say to yourself, I'm going to put a label that says spend some, save some, invest some, and give some. I'm going to put a certain percentage away that I'm going to spend, but I'm going to make sure I put money away for savings that covers my bills and the different things there. And I'm breaking the savings up so that I can start putting some money away just in case if I lost my job, I start moving to have 6 months salary, put away, put it in the bank or whatever you're going to do. I'm going to have some things for invest because I may see an opportunity that I could take a segment of my money that I've set aside for investment to maybe look at a stock. And investment doesn't always mean if I can buy something for this price and sell it at another price. Here's a real story. I remember my wife was into this Beanie Baby craze, and we were kind of early in our marriage, and she was saying, I got to go get in line to get some kind of Beanie Baby that was coming out. I'm thinking, get in line. What are you going to do? Well, I'm going to stay out here. We got to get in line tonight. They're going to stay out overnight to do what? To get a toy? And I saw on the news that these people were, sure enough, at this store in line trying to get one of these Beanie Babies. And my wife got there. She diligently they got their some kind of purple looking bear baby or something. And there was a lady that was there because I went out because it started raining and they said people were out there throwing stuff at him. And I was worried about her. So we went out there and gave her some, raincoat or whatever else because she was determined she was going to stay and get this purple bear or something. And there was a lady that came up to me and said, because she knew my wife got it, she said, I'll give you $2,500 for that. My family, my daughter really wants one of those. And I was like, wait right here. I'll be right back. I think the Beanie Baby only costs, I don't know, I think it was less than $10. You bought something for 10 and you could sell it for 2,500. No brainer in my mind. This same reality that I wanted to teach my kids, because like I said, I don't want my kids to be as dumb as me and my wife are. My daughters had told me, Dad, we really want to see Hannah Montana. And she was some Disney star. I think she's Miley Cyrus right now. And I mean, that's who she was. She still is Miley Cyrus. Very talented young lady. But I said, okay, my daughters, they want to see Miley Cyrus. I am not going to pay for these things. So I got up. I went down to I don't know what it was, Quest Center or wherever it was at the time. I got in line and they had some kind of lottery thing. You had to go up there, you get a ticket. And if they call your name, you might be in the first group of people that get in there or the second group or so on and so on. Man, I got the Willy Wonka gold ticket. I was in the first group and I was able to buy 4 tickets. I bought myself one, both my daughters, and my niece one because she wanted to see Hannah Montana. Man, I started looking in the paper, seeing what people were willing to pay for the Hannah Montana tickets and if you were willing to sell them. So I went to my daughters and said, hey, I think I got one other one. I think my sister-in-law took my niece. I think they went. And I told my daughters, I said, look, I know you guys want to see Hannah Montana, but people are buying these tickets for this amount. And my youngest daughter, who I think she's going to actually be a millionaire in the family. Yeah, I think because she's kind of driven that way. And she was driven that way even as a small child. And I said, this is what they're going to give it. And she was like, is that going to be my money? I was like, well, I'll give you some of it because you didn't stand in line and you didn't pay anything for it. But I bought these tickets for you, so it's be for you. And she said, they're going to pay this kind of money for these tickets? Sell them. My oldest daughter was kind of like, well, I kind of want to see Hannah. And she's like, are you crazy? Look at that. Dad said we can have the money. We can have a portion of it to do what we want to with it. And as they reasoned back, these same girls decided, hey, we're going to sell it. They bought what they were going to sell. And I remember that these same girls, when their school used to go on all kind of trips and stuff, and probably more than we could afford, but they didn't miss any of them. And they decided when we go to Sam's, Dad, will you buy some M&Ms and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, they take them and they were selling candy out their locker and stuff. And I think this was at North High and they missed Mr. Haynes said, brother man, when they finally, I guess, caught on and said they weren't supposed to do it, um, but they were selling stuff. And the thing that, I admire that. And I think sometimes the books that I'm sharing in the series, there's basically 5 books. The Abundant Life is the main book. There's a book on a small children's book that talks about open up your kids' first savings account and how important that is, and allow them to know um, that you need to make deposits into this savings account every time you get paid. And, my granddaughter was like, well, can I get paid? And I'm like, well, there's not much you can do. Well, can I get paid for my chores? And I'm like, heck no, you live here. Everybody need to contribute in some way. But I will pay you if you read books and you do something creative and builds your mind. And sure enough, she did what she was supposed to. But when she didn't do it, I didn't pay her, because that's the way life is. And sometimes we need to teach our kids life lessons early on. I was stupid. I had a paper route and whatever else, and we would get our money, and we was thinking the best thing at that time. We ride over to. At that time, there was an A&W over off of Ames. Go over there and get your root beer float, and some of them butter rolls or whatever it was, and hamburger or something. And you think, man, I got my own money. I can buy my own stuff. Or you doing different things, but somebody should have said, you know what? You need to put some of that money away. You need to go start making deposits. I want you to take, if you get $30, I want you to put 20 or 15 of it in the bank. I didn't have no bills. I wasn't doing nothing. I should have been saving, or somebody should have been talking to me about that. And I think that's where it is. That's how the cycle stops and the legacy starts, and it continues to grow when we make the conscious decision that we want to be the change that we're talking about. We want to make sure that when the next 3 generations of whoever, Nichols or Joneses or Smiths or Bromroskis or Wins or whatever, that the next 3 generations ahead will look back and say, I am so thankful for what my grandfather did or my great grandfather did. And now they passed on financial literacy to 3 generations. And now the 4th generation will be better than the 3rd and the 5th and the 6th. And that's how it happens, is when we make these conscious choices to do and act differently. But another thing here, a budget isn't a cage around your money. It's a map that leads you somewhere on purpose. I like that because it's quoted in the book, not because I said it, but I think that's a great thing. A budget isn't a cage. It isn't something that's supposed to restrict you or whatever else. It's to give you more freedom. It's to give you purpose for your money. It's a map that leads you somewhere on purpose. You started saving on purpose to get to where? See, and the problem with a lot of us, we treat our money like we go to the airport. And the airport person at the counter says, where do you want to go? Well, I don't know. Well, I just give you a ticket. And then you get somewhere that you don't even know why you're there or what was the purpose. And I'm just saying, it's time out. For those of you that's got it together, praise God for you. Thank God for you, and continue to pass it on and continue to share it with the rest of us that didn't do so smartly or whatever else you want to call it. But I'm just saying, it's time to start asking yourself, what's the plan? Do you have a plan for your money, or is somebody else already spent every dime you have? And there's all the other dimes and stuff that you spent. You don't even know where they went. It's like, man, I knew I had my paycheck was more than that. The bills got paid. There should have been something left. That's because you don't have a budget. You don't have something in place that tells you what the purpose was for your money. Does your family have a purpose? And does your finances and the things you do support what you say you want your family to one day enjoy and be? And that's the question. It's about breaking that cycle. It's about having a new mindset a new financial literacy that gives me a peace of mind that when my air conditioning goes out, I get it fixed and not worry about how I'm going to eat or sleep or something for the next day, or a car breaks down and you got to do certain things. That's when I talk about the abundant life. It's having a peace of mind and even a greater peace of mind where my money doesn't try to, it's not what makes me. I make the money to live and support and build a legacy, not a look at me. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that, but well, there is something wrong with that. I'm sorry that steps on somebody's toes, but if the only reason you dress the way you dress and drive what you drive and live where you live and do what you do so that other folks can go, ooh, we look at where they live, look what they drive, look how they dress, and they like, look at me, look at me, look at me. That's a trap. That's a trap. And if you're here tonight and you understand that, drop your own. Is this moment in the chat? If you're watching this tonight, what do you say? Is this it? Just type in there this and just say, this ain't it. I know I can change. I know I can do uh better. I know I can. I it's destined. And I also do some poetry, and I want to share with you a poem that I wrote that's in one of the poetry books. Let me find it here. What did I do with it? And I wanted to read that to you because it kind of explains some things in my mind that, and it says, why I didn't cherish today. There's a moment we all come to, a fork laid in the road, thankful for me or haunted by me. We get to decide which one we hold. And I choose thankful. I choose it on purpose every day because I can look back now and smile at the day I found the courage to say, I'm worth it. I'm really worth it. No one was coming to save me from me. No one was coming to make the changes. I couldn't keep living a life where someone else had to carry my shame. So I decided today was the day. Not tomorrow, not someday, not soon. The moment was right now. This breath, this hour, this room. I wanted a year, maybe two, maybe three. And if I'm here 10, 12, 15 years from now, I want to look back and smile and say, I'm so thankful you made the decision somehow to live this way. I'm so thankful for me that I chose to make me a priority because this today is the youngest I will ever be again. One day I'll wish I was exactly here, right where I've been. Now 40, saying I'm getting old, you're getting old. You're 50, thinking your best years are gone. Meanwhile, somebody at 70 would give anything to trade for what you're standing on. We spend so much time mourning who we used to be that we forget this moment too will become the past. And someday we'll look back at today the same way, wishing it could last. I'm not too old to change, not too old to build, not too to grow, to start, not too old to fix what's broken, the body, the bank account, or the heart. I don't have I don't have unlimited time. And that's exactly the point you see. 5 years from now, I'll either say I'm glad I started or I'll be older still wishing to be free. So stop treating today like something you've already lost. I've stopped grieving what I can't do anymore and start counting what I can, whatever the cost. Not what I used to be, but what I used to do, but who I get to become because of how much I love who I am, straight through. I remember that I'm worth it. I remember I was built to succeed, and I can do all things, not some things, all things through Christ who strengthens me. This is the day, this is the moment, this is the youngest I'll ever be, and I'm so thankful for me. Are you thankful for you? Have you got to a point in your life that you said, you know what? I'm thankful for the choices I made. I'm thankful for the sacrifices I did. I was once blind, but now I see. Not calling these things because I see a different me. I wanted a different me. Do you want a different you? Do you want the cycle to stop here so that the legacy can start now? Or do you want to be somebody that looks at and cringes because that you didn't make sure that you did the right things and it just kept going over and over? That's the quiet question. Is this it? And I'm here to tell you it's not. You can change some things. You can be different. You can be the change that you talk about. And you can be a blessing in the next episode. Start them early. Start talking to your kids early. I'm really hoping that this book series, it's just two of the books of the four of the children book. One is called The Froggy Bank, in which this grandfather took his granddaughter to the credit union, opened up her savings account so that she could start learning about savings. And the next book is about Zara's lemonade stand adventure, where she took some of her money from her investment jar and went out and bought some lemons and some sugar and made a couple of signs and started selling lemonade for $1. See, these are the kind of things that we have to ask ourselves: do we want our kids to be different? And if we do want them to be different, you got to start them early. Just because somebody talked to you about certain things and finances and whatever else, you have to make sure you make the decision to be that change you're talking about. And the best way to do that is start them out early. I hope that you'll come back next Tuesday and find out what I'm talking about and start them out early. Because, like I said earlier, if you don't have a plan for your money, somebody else already made one for you. Read Proverbs 21 and 5. I didn't put it up because I think if you're watching this tonight or you see this on a clip or something, open your Bible, look at Proverbs 21 and 5, and look at the question. If you don't have a plan for your money, somebody else has already made one for you. And then the other thing I asked you, a budget isn't a cage around your money. It's the map that leads your money somewhere on purpose. And look at the scripture, Luke 14 and 28. These are all things that are within the book that Gary released called The Abundant Life. And I hope when it comes out, you will check it out. If you're somebody that says, you know what, excuse me, summer cold, I wouldn't be happy if the next three generations were as financially literate as I am. I want to do and be something different. Well, I certainly hope tonight you got something out of this tonight. And I hope that you're starting to think about, no, this ain't it. There's so much more in store. The best days of my life are yet ahead. I'm not going to be stuck in fear. I'm not going to be stuck in scarcity. I'm not going to be stuck in the limitations that somebody else's limitations, and I'm not going to be stuck with the limitations that I say, well, I'm too old, to this, to that. But no, no, no. I'm very much a child of the Most High, which gives me access if I'm willing to be disciplined and I'm willing to put in the work. I can guarantee you, if you do the work you're supposed to, God will do his part. He will not lax on his part. Most of the time it's us. And when it doesn't happen as fast or as soon as it is, realize that he maybe is just saying, not yet. Maybe you're just not ready yet and you haven't learned everything that I have, because what I have in store for you might crush you if you get it too soon. And sometimes that's a fact that we all have to be aware of and be willing to accept. And if you are watching this tonight and then you do that, please leave something in the chat. Just say that, no, this isn't it. I know God's got more in store for me. I'm not going to be not going to continue making the same mistakes. I'm going to seek out the wisdom. I'm going to do something different because I want something different. And most importantly, if you have kids, nieces, nephews, grandkids, I want completely different for them. I want to make sure that they have an opportunity to understand their faith, love their family, gain wisdom, financially literate people and leaders, able to lead first themselves and then lead others, to share that and help develop other leaders, other disciples um, as well. It'd be a much better world if more churches and more people really took discipleship seriously. I mean, we take all these other things that are not Bible supported in no certain way, and we wonder why we don't get nothing more out of it than what we get out of it. A lot of work, people tired and too fried to take on and do the real work that's really needed in our churches, in our community, in our cities, our state, and the world abroad, because we're all so focused on being in this world, not looking at being stewards, but just, worldly, unfounded, leading to stress, depressed, broken, busted people who wonder why. And we watched the other night. The reason I do this and the reason I'm sharing this book series, because that's the cry behind the why. Not only do I not want myself to continue in that, I don't want to see my daughters, I don't want to see my granddaughters, the grandkids continue out, and I don't want to see you have to continue in it. And if you're listening and you're checking this out, please put in the chat tonight, Lord, I'm ready to move with you. That song, whatever you're doing in this season, don't do it without me. If you're improving people's finances, if you're giving people greater peace of mind, helping them to live life and live it more abundantly, Lord, don't do that without me. Include me. Lord, I want to be in that number, as they say. Well, I want to thank you all tonight for tuning in. And maybe you'll tune in later when this goes out or whatever else. Like I said, it's every Tuesday and Thursday night from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Central Standard Time. Let's pray. Most graciously, Father, once again, I thank you for tonight. I thank you for your grace, your mercy. I thank you for all that you do, all that you've done. And I thank you in advance for the things that you're going to do, Lord. I pray that you continue to order our steps in a way that brings you glory, that edifies your people, that we become more than just surviving or moving day to day, but that we get to enjoy life and life more abundantly according to your word and your way, Lord, that we have this peace of mind, not stressed, not fearful, not begrudgingly or any of that we have money to spend, money to invest, money to give, money to save, Lord, and we can do that faithfully, intentionally, Lord. Lord, I ask a special blessing for the Reverend Kenneth Allen and his family, Lord, as his family mourns his loss, and his church family, the Zion Church family, Lord, I ask that you continue to be with them during this time, Lord. Pastor Allen shared and gave and was a great man in this community. I ask, Lord, that you can bless and be with Pastor Jonathan Chapman. His father just passed, Lord, and I pray that you continue to be with him and his family and the Church on Purpose church family, Lord, because Jonathan's dad was also an associate pastor at the church, Lord, who shared there, Lord, and had impact. So we ask you just continue to be with those families, Lord, and continue to give them a peace beyond all understanding. It's a long road, Lord, but we can't go down this road without you, Lord. So we just ask that you just continue to be with them as only you can. I pray that we have a great night and even better tomorrow. And until next time, stay blessed, Stay saved. And just in case you missed Sunday school, we'll be here. And I want you to know that God loves you, I love you, and there ain't nothing you can do about that. Have a great, 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 great night. See you next Tuesday.
Thank you for joining us on Just In Case You Missed Sunday School Bible Study Podcast. Please like this episode, subscribe to the channel, and share with friends and family. For coaching, books, and resources, visit rodneynichols.com. See you next week.